we're going to unpack a pretty simple story about a girl and her bully. But trust me, hidden inside is this incredibly powerful framework, a practical guide for handling those, difficult people we all have to deal with in our lives. It all kicks off with a feeling we all know too well, that Sunday night dread, staring down a tough week ahead. But for a young girl named Anjali, this isn't just the post-weekend blues. See, her dread has a name, and it's waiting for her at school every single Monday. And this really gets to a fundamental question, doesn't it? When you have someone in your life, at work, at school, anywhere, who is just a constant source of negativity, what are you supposed to do? This is Anjali's dilemma, but really, it's a dilemma we all face at some point. Okay, so to really get a handle on this dilemma, let's take a closer look at Anjali's antagonist. Her name is Minu, and her behavior is the problem that we're here to solve. And look, we're not talking about some minor teasing here. What Minu does is consistent, and it keeps escalating. She calls her awful nicknames like Frog-Eyed Girl, she deliberately knocks over her lunch, and it even gets physical, pushing Anjali so hard that she actually gets hurt. For Anjali, this just creates a daily environment of fear. So faced with all this, Anjali gets two totally different pieces of advice. And these really represent the two fundamental paths any of us can take in a conflict. Do you fight fire with fire, or do you choose a completely different path? And here you see these two opposing schools of thought laid out. On one side, you've got her friends who give the advice our gut tells us to give. Push her back, teach her lesson. It's that instinct for retaliation. But on the other side, her father offers a really counterintuitive path. Ignore her, refuse to engage, and maybe most importantly, don't let her actions turn you into someone you're not. Now, the psychology behind her dad's advice is simple, but it's really powerful. He understands a crucial dynamic. A lot of antagonists, they thrive on attention. By reacting, by fighting back, you're giving them the very thing they want. You're feeding the behavior. His advice is basically to starve it of the attention it needs to survive. But let's be honest, this is hard. It feels passive, right? Anjali herself starts to wonder if she's making a huge mistake. She's still getting hurt, her friends think she's being weak, and she starts to seriously question if her dad's whole philosophy is actually working. And it's this doubt that makes what happens next so much more powerful. So this all builds to a completely unexpected test. What seems like a totally normal toy day at school suddenly becomes the perfect real-world laboratory for her father's theory. So here's the setup. Everybody brings a toy to class, but Minu decides to bring her pet cat, Bilu. Well, the cat gets scared and scrambles way up a tall tree. And in that one moment, the entire dynamic shifts. Suddenly, Minu, the aggressor, is vulnerable and totally distressed. And critically, nobody steps up to help her. Now, before we see what Anjali does, it's really important to get this concept: strategic empathy. This isn't just about feeling sorry for someone. It's an active choice. It's choosing to try and understand the situation from their perspective, not to excuse what they did, but to find a way toward a better outcome for everybody. And this is exactly what Anjali does. She sees Minu's genuine fear and sadness for her cat, and she makes this pivotal choice. She moves beyond her father's advice of just passive non-reaction to a new active strategy. This is empathy in action. And that one action becomes the catalyst for a huge change. Anjali really decides to run an experiment to prove her father's deeper hypothesis, that maybe, just maybe, goodness can be more powerful than aggression. Her response pretty much breaks down into a repeatable plan. First, she observes the reality of the situation. Minu is truly upset. Second, she empathizes with that feeling of being scared and alone. Third, she takes real action by getting a bowl of milk to try and lure the cat down. And fourth, she resolves the crisis. The cat is safe. And the result of this, it's immediate, and it is absolutely transformative. Minu, seeing this completely unexpected act of kindness from the very person she tormented, offers a genuine, heartfelt apology. She doesn't just say sorry. She acknowledges her own bad behavior and asks for forgiveness. This right here is the key. Retaliation might have won a temporary battle, but it would have just deepened the war. Anjali's strategy didn't just stop the conflict, it permanently resolved it by transforming an enemy into a friend. This is what a total victory looks like. So what's the big takeaway here? How do we take this principle from a simple story and apply it to our own, much more complex conflicts? Well, it all comes down to this core idea. While just ignoring negativity can be a useful first step,
The truly powerful move is to proactively introduce a positive force. A strategic good deed can disarm an antagonist in a way that aggression never could, and it can actually force them to reconsider their own actions.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Think about a difficult person in your life right now. Our instinct is always to meet force with force. But what if that playbook is just wrong? What if, in that specific situation, your most strategic, your most powerful, and ultimately your most effective move is an unexpected act of kindness?